You are standing in the most powerful throne room on earth. The year is around 600 BC. The city of Babylon sprawls beneath you, the Hanging Gardens, the Ishtar Gate, the ziggurat reaching toward the sky. This is the empire that swallowed nations whole, that dragged an entire people out of their homeland in chains, that rewrote the map of the world. And the man sitting on the throne is having nightmares. His name is Nebuchadnezzar. He is the most feared ruler alive. He commands armies that shake mountains. He answers to no one. But something has crept into his sleep, something enormous and terrifying, and he cannot shake it. He knows, deep in the part of him that is still just a man lying in the dark, that whatever he saw was more real than the throne room he wakes up in. So he does what powerful men do. He summons experts, the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, the astrologers. The full weight of Babylonian intellectual tradition files into his court. These men have spent their lives studying the stars, decoding omens, interpreting signs. They are the best in the world at what they do. And then Nebuchadnezzar tells them something that stops the room cold. He will not tell them the dream. They have to tell him the dream. And then interpret it. Every one of them goes pale. No human being can look into another man's mind and pull out a forgotten vision. They say so plainly. Only the gods know this, and the gods do not live among men. Nebuchadnezzar's response is immediate and merciless. If they cannot do it, every wise man in Babylon dies. That decree reaches a young exile named Daniel. Daniel is not Babylonian. He is from Jerusalem, taken captive when Nebuchadnezzar conquered Judah. He hears about the decree. He does not panic. He goes home, gathers his 3 closest friends, and asks them to pray. He tells them exactly what they need, that the God of heaven would reveal this mystery. That night, the mystery was revealed to him in a vision. Daniel walks into Nebuchadnezzar's throne room and tells the king what he dreamed. "You saw a statue," Daniel says. "Enormous. Dazzling. Terrifying. Its head was pure gold. Its chest and arms were silver. Its belly and thighs were bronze. Its legs were iron. Its feet were partly iron and partly clay." The king is silent. And then a stone came, not cut by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. The whole statue collapsed, shattered, broken, swept away without leaving a trace. But the stone became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Now comes the interpretation. "You are the head of gold," Daniel tells the king. "But after you, another kingdom will rise, inferior, represented by silver. Then a third, bronze, ruling over the whole earth. Then a fourth, strong as iron, crushing everything. But its feet of iron and clay mean it will be divided. Partly strong, partly brittle. The rulers will try to unite, but they will not hold together. Iron does not bond with clay. And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed. It will crush all the others and bring them to an end. But it will itself endure forever." Nebuchadnezzar falls on his face. He does not execute Daniel. He honors him. He calls Daniel's God the God of gods and the Lord of kings. This is the same man who, hours before, was ordering mass executions of his own advisors. Now think about what has just happened. A captive, technically a possession of the Babylonian state, has just told the most powerful man on earth that his kingdom is temporary. That it will be followed by others, each declining in value from gold to silver to bronze to iron. That all of them, every throne room, every declaration of permanent power, will be swept away like dust. Scholars who have mapped the metals onto history point to Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. The progression is striking. Babylon falls in 539 BC to the Persians. The Persians fall to Alexander the Great. Alexander's empire shatters into divided kingdoms after his death, iron mixed with clay, strong but unable to hold together. Rome rises, dominates, and eventually fractures into the nations of Europe. Kingdoms that try to unify and cannot. Sound familiar? Historian Paul Kennedy, in his landmark study on the rise and fall of great powers, found the same recurring pattern across centuries: overextension, internal fracture, the illusion of permanence, then collapse. He was not writing theology. He was writing history. And the shape he described is the shape on that throne room floor in Babylon. The dream does not just predict collapse. It explains the mechanism. The feet. Not the head, not the chest, not the legs. The feet. The point of contact between all that glittering power and actual reality. That is where the weakness lives. That is what the stone strikes. Every structure that has ever looked unshakable has had its weight resting on something, on assumptions, on agreements, on the willingness of enough people to keep pretending. When the base cracks, everything above it falls in the same moment. The image Daniel uses is precise and strange. A stone not cut by human hands. In the ancient Near East, stones cut by human hands built temples, palaces, monuments, the signature of civilization. The uncut stone is raw material before human intention touched it. Daniel is pointing at a kind of agency that precedes human design. A kingdom not built by any emperor's ambition. And it becomes a mountain that fills the whole earth. Not a palace. A mountain. Something that grows from the point of impact. You probably do not rule an empire. But you have built things. And at some point in your life, you have felt the stone hit the base of something you thought was permanent. A career. A relationship. A version of yourself you had decided was final. The structure fell. And in the dust, something else was already growing. That is the shape of the dream. Not destruction as the end. Displacement as the beginning. There is a line Daniel speaks before he delivers the interpretation that most people rush past. He says, "There is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries." Not a technique. Not a method. A source. Something outside the system. The magicians, the astrologers, the enchanters, they were not frauds. They were genuinely skilled. They just could not reach outside themselves. You live inside very sophisticated systems too. Information, economic, and political systems. All of them capable. And all of them operating inside the same limit the Babylonian experts hit. They can work with what they are given. They cannot reach outside themselves. The dream that terrified Nebuchadnezzar was not a punishment. It was a gift. He saw, in one compressed image, the entire arc of human empire. Gold to silver to bronze to iron to clay. Diminishing. Fracturing. Ending. And then the stone. And then the mountain. And then forever. The question Nebuchadnezzar woke up with turns out to be the same question underneath every human century. Who is actually in charge here? Tonight, when something you build starts to look less permanent than it did, you will feel that question rise in you too. Not as theology. As weight. As the specific gravity of standing on feet that might be clay. That is the dream. That is what it meant. And you have been living inside its answer your entire life.